Assiniboia Downs is pleased to present our featured field here in race number 3. It's the 55th running of the Osiris Stakes for 2-year-olds. They're going to go 5.5 furlongs for $27,500. Number 1 is Eye Catching, owned and trained by Ardell Sailor, Chevy and Chow aboard. Number 2 is Say It's Not So, owned by Barry Arneson and Don Schnell, trained by Don Schnell with Praven Badry. Number 3, that's Mr. Dazzle, owned and trained by Shelley Brown, Antonio Whitehall aboard. Rounding out the field is number 4, True Diligence, owned and trained by Shelley Brown, Paul Francis aboard. Following the running of the Osiris, Assiniboia Downs is pleased to have on hand David. They're at the post. And they're off in the 55th running of the Osiris Stakes. Stumbling at the start was Mr. Dazzle. To the front, Say It's Not So. Will grab the early lead. Mr. Dazzle is going to put the win string on the line as he sits second today. Third on the outside is True Diligence. And on the rail, Eye Catching, the early trailer, 2 lengths off the lead. The opening quarter, 23-1. Say It's Not So, still running easy. But Mr. Dazzle starts to set it down and go after Say It's Not So. Eye Catching still on the rail with a chance in third. And True Diligence is now the trailer. They hit the head of the lane. Say It's Not So with a short lead in between horses. Eye Catching, Mr. Dazzle on the outside. It's these three. A 16th of a mile to go. Say It's Not So with the short lead. Eye Catching in between horses. Say It's Not So. Eye Catching will take the Osiris Stakes. Now entering the winner's enclosure is the official winner of the 55th running of the Osiris Stakes. That's number 1, Eye Catching. Eye Catching is a dark bear brown filly, 2 years old, by Gone Astray, out of the mare Choice Point by Imperialism. Owned and trained by Ardell Sailor and ridden to victory by Chavy and Chow. Time for the 5.5 furlongs, 108-2. Assiniboia Downs is very pleased to have on hand David McLeod, CEO of NCI-FM, to make a presentation to the winning connections. Race 3 is official in the upcoming 4th race. Kicking off 15% takeout pick 4 wagering, our fan of the day race. There are no changes, but we'll carry on with the rest of the changes. Actually, in race number 4, number 1, Creative Crossing, will run on Lasix. And this is the 4th race. Number 1, Creative Crossing, will run on Lasix. There is no changes in race 5, 6, or 7. 15% takeout pick 4 wagering starts right here in race number 4, our fan of the day race. And they'll go to post in 19 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, directing your attention back down to the winner's enclosure, ASD paddock host Rob McLennan has the winning connections of the Osiris Stakes. Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Kurt. Down here with the winning connections of the 55th running of the Osiris Stakes, Chavy and Chow. Ardell Sailor with Eye Catching. Here's a filly, broke her maiden just by the slimmest of margins, came back, ran second in a progressively forward stakes race, and then came back and just slipped through today. Chavian, what do you think of the trip?
You know, the last time she broke a little tardy at the gate, so, you know, this time I was kind of taking it from the break. And the trainer said, you know, I leave it up to you. So I was going to leave her, let her break, and see where she sits and comfortable and take it from there.
Yeah, the 2-horse, the other filly in the race, dashed out to the lead. And you turned for home, and you had Mr. Dazzle outside of you, and you had to kind of work your way through traffic. Talk a little bit about your stretch drive there.
You know, I was sitting there and I realized I had mid full, so I was just waiting for a hole to open, and then it opened and she got through, and she was gutsy enough to go through there. So you know, hats off to her too.
Yeah, always the big test is whether they're going to dive on through there. Anything else here to wrap it up other than just a well-timed victory and not the biggest of margins, but a convincing one anyways?
Oh yeah, she ran great. You know, hats off to her again, and you know, thanks to the owner, the trainer, you know, for keeping me on this horse and believing me, and you know, thanks be to God.
Congratulations, Chavian. We'll move on to Ardell here with this filly eye-catching. Talk a little bit about her.
Well, she's awful nice fairly. I bought her a Keelan, and I didn't want to buy no more yearlings at the January sale, and I kept going back to look, and I kept going back to look, and I said, I don't need no more 2-year-olds. And she kept catching my eye, so I bought her, and Chow, he rode a really good race. You know, he asked me what to do. I said, you ride her. Ride her like you own her, and the bank's coming to get your car.
Yeah, it certainly worked out that way as she sat back and made the big splitting rally. Talk a little bit about what you thought as the race was going on. Obviously, she had to come through, and one of those things that she showed signs kind of that experience and a little bit of grit.
Well, we got a lot in company. You know, we always take 2 or 3 horses together, and we set them back and make them come through. And I was a little worried about they getting pinched off on the rail there, and she just come on through and run very professional.
Yeah, she certainly did. Anything else to wrap it up? I would think the futurity probably ends up being the end goal here in a couple of weeks.
We'll see what happens one day at a time with these babies.
Always a good thing. She certainly was eye-catching down here. Ardell Saylor, Chavian Chow with eye-catching, the winner of the 55th Osiris Stakes right here at ASD. Back up to you, Kurt.
Thank you, Rob. 15.